I can do it as well. With
Okay.
the three dots, where you can also change the background and things like that. There is start recording.
Yeah. Okay, I think it's recording now. I think
Yes,
you
I
can
see
see the red.
the red dot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how you would like to start to have a small explanation about Cap2er, or you just want to explain what your thoughts were to do during the demonstration?
I can at first maybe I can explain what I have planned, and then you can say tell me if it's even possible to organize that way, because with this bovine, as we know, we need to do this demonstration, and I thought that in Estonia the plan is to do one open presentation online, like we do on Zoom or other ways, and if it's possible to use this tool, like to take 2 farms or 3 farms from Estonia, and to use this tool, and then to show or compare it like with the France farms, because you, as I remember in last presentation, you said there's a huge amount of farms are already inserted the data there, so we can see the difference. But for
Yes.
that I should need at least in English the input, because I tried to translate it from the website, but all the I couldn't see all the information. And
Yes.
do you have any possible to send the information, data information that is needed in English? Or
So it's so we have the data grid collection in English already, because Italian are using it, are using Cap2er. Italy is using Cap2er in English, but it's an Excel format. So we don't want to work again on this Excel format, because it's it's complicated. After we have to edit the diagnosis and so on. It's a lot of work for us. So that's why it's as I presented last time. Now it's a website, something like a website, a web portal, and it's possible to collect also without any internet connection. So Cap2er will be available in English in November, but not before. I think it's the agenda in November. I think it's the beginning of November. So if we have 2 weeks, if we are 2 weeks late, well, hopefully we'll not be late. But so that's the problem. It's this the English tool will be only available in November. So I think it will be no problem at in November 2021 to test, of course, Estonian farm without any problem. But otherwise, if it's just a few farm, maybe we can do it on Excel. But it's difficult. But I don't want to close completely the door. But at the moment, I'm over busy, and it will be difficult. But it's really, if it's really important for you that you have results before November, we can try to do it on Excel, but it will be on a few farm. If it's only 2 or 3 farm, it's okay. And after, so yeah, we have a lot of references in France, as you said, with a different type of system. If it's clear to weanling, if it's fatteners, or so on. But maybe to have a Estonian reference, maybe the best if you can describe even an hypothetic farm, Estonian typical Estonian farm. Maybe it can be done like this.
I think because yes, the typical Estonian beef farm, we don't have any commercial fattening farms at all. So in beef cattle farming, and the typical Estonian beef farm is usually mother cows with the calves, and half of them then finish them on pasture and on silage, or very small amount of port cereal stuff. So So, but I think because of the deadline of BovINE, I should do the presentation before November, because as I remember, I had to do the demos before September even. So, but
Yes.
that shouldn't be that so huge event, and maybe we took only 2 farms, because but I don't have right now how much the data, how many inputs you need from farms. It's a long list, or it's, as I saw in the web page, it's electricity, fuel, animal weights, stuff like that. This doesn't seem too much, maybe.
Yes, but in fact, that's more than that. I will show you. So if it's 2 farm, it's okay. We'll try to do it with the Excel grid. So I will send you maybe this afternoon or in the beginning of next week the data we need. Okay, in an Excel format in English. So like this, it will be easier. And I just want to show you. It will be in French again, but. Yeah, so we have first to decide if we want to make a level 1 or a level 2. If it's a level 1, it's far much easier, and it's far much easier. So if it's a level 2, the data, there is 150 data in the level 2 approximately, and there is 30 data in the level 1.
I think we should first do it in level 1. It's not
Okay.
we have enough time, and then in November, when it's all in English, we can see it from there if we want to do another presentation or something. But at first, it's level 1 should be good enough.
Okay. So I think it's doable without any problem. The problem, I'm not sure I have the level 1 in English. I don't have the grid of the level 1 in English, but it's not a big deal to translate it. So I can do it. Do you want me to share the grid and translate live the data, just to show from? I don't know the other people around.
Yes,
so
then
yeah.
the other
Okay.
people also understand what we are talking about then.
So me, I'm Jocelyn Durand. Just to introduce myself, I'm Jocelyn Durand. I'm working in the French Livestock Institute on a carbon issue on beef production, but also on biodiversity as well. So up. Normally, you can see my screen now. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the Cap2er when I log in the Cap2er website. Okay. This is the Cap2er tool. Okay. And here it's my next visit. I have to go on farm in order to assess their greenhouse gas emission. So I have 5 next visits. So it's level 2. This one is a level 1. Anyway, I open this one. And I will try to collect the data. Here it's already done. So this is the name of the farm. This is the number of the farm. Okay, I don't know if I think it's. I don't even know if in Europe we have all the same number, but we don't care. If it's in Excel format, it's not obligatory. So anyway, this is the postal code. It's just for us to link the meteorological, the weather, the rain, the temperature, and so on. So this is the postal code of the French sector, the French region. So this is against the city. So here we have a few information about if it's nitrate directive sensible area and so on. So after there is a date of the diagnosis, we don't care, and this is about a law in order to use the data we will collect. And here it's starting with the technical data. So we ask about the combination of production. Is it beef plus crops? Is it beef only? Is it and so on? Okay, it's a big system. After there is the overall surface of the farm. After it's the number of livestock units of the farm. And next, it will be the system, more detailed system. So here it's just as Airi said. Here it's circular to finish with in France it's 18 months young bulls. So anyway, it's just to have the right reference when we will position the farm. Okay. Otherwise, it's not. Yeah, it's useful also for estimate. If we don't have the data, we try to estimate the electricity consumption and we try to estimate the fuel consumption. So it will be dependent of the system. Anyway, here it will not be a big deal. So after it's, do you have a dairy production as well? Yes, no. Do you have a quality sign? And that's all. And after it's the technical data. So we'll have the breeds. So for example, here we'll have difficulty because I know your farm you presented, Airi. I know you have no, it's not. You have a few Wagyu, but not it's.
Yeah, there is no problem with Wagyus, but I see you have a Simmental. This is a beef Simmental, yes?
Yes.
Okay. We just we don't have here in the list. We don't have Angus and Hereford, which is the big breeds in Estonia. But I think if we look the smaller like this Salers or somebody,
Yeah.
it's or Aubrac is similar to Angus and Hereford. They are the medium size breeds.
Okay.
We can use them.
So it's exactly this, Ari, you understood well. This type of breed, it's only important for us in order to have an average weight. Okay, we affect to these breeds average weight, and that's all. So that's why. Yeah, it's perfect if we can catch up a breed with approximately the same weight than the Angus, it will be okay. So anyway, for example, I can choose Salers or Aubrac, and after there is a number of suckler cows, number of heifers 0-1 year, number of heifers 1-2 years, number of heifers more than 2 years old. Okay, and the same for the male. So animal census is important because our calculation for enteric methane, it's of course the number of cows, but for each cow, for each animal, sorry, it will be the weight, the dry matter intake, and after the percentage of concentrate, because the calculation is sensible to the glucidic, amidon. I don't remember the name in English. Glucidic or cellulose amount in the feeding plan. In fact, the more you treat your ruminants as a monogastric, the less it will ruminate. So the less the enteric fermentation will be important. But if you feed your cow with, for example, wheat or cereal, it's one thing to decrease a bit the methane fermentation, but the other thing is the cereal is coming with a CO2 factor. So in fact, there is a bit of an effect. How do you say? So yeah, just to show you that it's not the more you give cereal to your cows, the less your emission will be. It's more complicated than this because your cereal are coming with a carbon weight. Okay.
I have a quick question. Do you have the farms in? No, I think you have, but do you have these farms that you have inspected? What is totally grass-fed, that they don't feed any?
Yes. There is some with yeah. We have organic farms. We have some farms grass-fed only.
And that would be interesting to see.
and the results are good, but it's just what I wanted to stress. It's the results are good if the net results are better. The way we calculate, but I will show you with the restitution. With the restitution, it's we have the emissions, we have carbon sequestration, and we'll have after a net carbon footprint. So it's greenhouse gas emission minus carbon sequestration. And if we do the difference, and if we express the carbon footprint, the overall carbon footprint, the organic systems are the lowest. It's not the lowest because you can be grass-fed without being organic and so on, but it's among the lowest. But if you take only greenhouse gas emission, that's the problem. It's in fact because we express the results in kilo of equivalent CO2 per kilo of live weight gain, will not be the lowest, will not be the highest, but will not be the lowest. The idea is your emission are the best results if you are quite intensive on your animal. It means to have a first calving quite young, to have an interval between two calving quite short, and so on, and extensive with your surface with a lot of grassland. And here you will emit not so much because you are quite good in productivity in kilo of live weight per livestock unit, and you will sequestrate a lot of carbon. So if this type of system are really low, it's the lowest systems. Okay, but it's important for us to quantify carbon sequestration. That's why. So anyway, so the animal census is really important because it's the enteric fermentation we have. An enteric fermentation, you know it will be more than 50% of our emissions, greenhouse gas emissions. And after there is a time, number of months spent in housing. So here it's the same, just to express, it's the less time you are in housing, the less is your emission. Okay, if you put the animal grazing outside, the emission are lowest, because restitution during the grazing, all the emission N2O, CH4 will be less than housing, manure storage, and manure spreading after. So here it's the type of, so it was the months for female and average months in housing for males. And after we have the type of housing. If it's straw only, if it's liquid manure, I don't know, kaiboti, it's concrete floor with, or if it's with straw and solid manure production. And after there is the time of calving, if it's a winter calvings, if it's spring calvings, if it's double period, it's so on. And this is not affecting our calculation, but it's just to know, it's just to understand better the system. Okay, it's not affecting our calculation. And after there is a number of calvings, the number of weaned calves, the age at first calving, the average age at first calving on the farm, the interval between two calvings, and it's the same. The age at first calving and the interval between two calving, it's not affecting directly our calculation. In fact, this number will be affecting this balance. The balance between, of course, if you have a huge interval between two calvings, you will have a huge difference between your number of suckler cows and your number of heifers 0-1 year and heifers and a male 0-1 year. Okay, so in fact, this is only a declaration, if you want, but what we really calculate, it's on the animal census. So normally, these two, of course, if the age at first calving is 37 months, you will see that you will have heifers more than 2 years. But if you age at first calving, it's 24 months. In fact, you will not have any heifers more than 2 years. Okay, if you are not fattening some heifers, I am clear.
Yes.
Okay. So it's only a declaration. It's not intervening in the calculation. But what is really important is the animal census app, and this will be interesting in order to comment the results. This is a renewal rate. So here it was 15%, and so this is the weight of the culled cows. So here, why do we ask the weight of the culled cows? It's because if we choose, for example, Charolais breeds, there is different type of format of the Charolais breed. Is it a big Charolais? Is it a small Charolais? Is it an average Charolais? And this information will be used for us. We have three grid for all the breeds. With all the animal, okay, and for example, a suckler Charolais, we have an average weight. A Heifer 0-1 years Charolais, we have an average weight, and we have in fact 3 average weights. Is it a big Charolais Heifer 0-1 year? It is an average Charolais 0-1 year, or is it a small format Charolais 0-1 year? And this will be decided by this weight, the exact weight of the cull cows when we butcher them.
But I have again one quick question. If a farmer has 2 different breeds, like I have Angus and Simmental, so I have to do, or I can I have to do at first the calculation with one breed and then with the other breed, or how it's working?
It's a problem. What is your percentage in livestock units between the two? It's 50-50?
Yes.
Almost. Okay, so it's a really bad it's a really bad case for our simplified tool. If it's the level 2, it will be easy. You will have the possibility to declare 2 breeds, and you will make the animal census for each breed. Okay, but because you have 50, so in the level 1, what we said, it's you declare only the majoritarian breed, the breeds with the majority. If you have 80% of Charolais and 20% of Limousin, you will declare Charolais.
Okay.
Okay. But you will put all the animal Charolais and Limousin.
Okay.
So it will be affected. It will affect a bit the results. So you said you have Simmental, and so there is a difference in weights of the 2 breed. So I don't know. Maybe we can have breeds between the 2. Oh, okay, Irie. Maybe maybe one of the solution could be to have breeds between the average weight of a Simmental, and between the average weight of an Angus.
Yes.
Okay, maybe it could be a solution. Like this, you will not overestimate because either you declare Simmental and you will overestimate. Simmental are bigger than Angus.
Yeah, Simmental is bigger.
Yeah, so if you choose Simmental, you will overestimate your greenhouse gas emission, because you have 50% of the animals are Angus, and you will declare all your animals, but you will declare them as Simmental. So if you declare only Simmental, you will overestimate. If you declare Angus, you will underestimate, because 50%. Yeah.
But maybe then it's again, maybe then it's easier even to use the level 2.
Yes, maybe
because
it's
you
easier.
have already English. I understand the input.
Yes, but I can show you after the data of the level 2. You will see it's more detailed on everything, especially on fertilizer. But I will show you maybe quickly just after, and I will show. You will tell me if it's suitable or not. So here anyway. So the age of the cull cow, the weight of the cull cows. The number of kilo of live weight sold. Is it finished meat, or is it live animals? Okay, so this equals this plus this. Okay. Yes. After, there is the weight of the animal we purchased, and there is a variation of inventory. The number of the animals at the beginning of the period minus number of animals at the end of the period. And after, you will have the live weight gain production. I don't know, Airi, if you calculate this type of information on your farm?
No.
No, the live weight gain production, it's the overall kilogram of beef you produce this year. But only
this, but it's possible to calculate.
Yeah, of course. I do think so. In France, it's our main productivity indicators, especially the live weight gate production per livestock unit. This indicators, live weight gate production in kilo of live weight gain per livestock unit. It's a strong it's our productivity indicator, the main productivity indicator. After, you will have to declare your permanent grassland. That means your grassland that are not in rotation with crops.
Yes.
Okay. And after the temporary grassland, it means the grasslands that are in rotation with crops. They sequestrate less carbon for us. And after, you will have your surface in silage maize and other fodders, such as alfalfa, for example. And after, there is the quantity of cereal you auto-consume. So you produce and you consume on your farm. But here you tell me it was really marginal, so it will be 0 maybe. And after, there is the yield of this cereal you auto-consumed. And after, there is the meters of hedgerows. This is important in order to calculate our biodiversity indicators and to calculate our carbon sequestration. Airi, you tell me if it's for you. It's only something you already know because I presented last time. So
yes,
I don't want to.
But that was my second question that I wanted to ask: how you are calculating biodiversity? But in Estonia, we don't have any subsidies for making hedges. We have. This is not until, and we don't calculate or we don't measure our biodiversity that way. This is the problem, I think, because
for us, we don't have any subsidies about the hedgerows, but sometimes it's in the conditionality of the cap. So anyway, the idea is: do you have picture like satellite picture of your farm?
Yes.
So you take your we will have to take, I think, your a ruler, and you calculate.
Yes, you can use then also not the hedgerows, but you can use the trees and the bushes that are natural also for the biodiversity.
Yes. So once again, it will be level 2. Level 2, there is hedgerows. There will be like walls, dry stone walls. There will be isolated trees. There will be so on. But here we ask to declare hedgerows. But if it's hedgerows with bushes, it's okay. It's not big hedgerows. In fact, we make an average for all the hedgerows. Of course, if you are really precise, I'm doing biodiversity assessments, and we have maybe 6 classes of hedgerows. But here, if it's blackberry hedgerows or if it's huge oak hedgerows, you put it in the same box, the hedgerows. Okay, but we can discuss when you will try to fill this. We will maybe make a team call and we'll discuss it. So this is nitrogen, organic nitrogen that you are spreading outside your farm. So if all your organic nitrogen, if all your manure is spread on your farm, you put 0 here, of course.
Okay.
And after this is the last data, input data. It's inputs. So consumption of electricity, it's peanuts. Okay, electricity. I don't know the mix, the carbon mix of the electricity in Estonia, but I think in your farm you are not using a lot of electricity, or I don't know, but normally in beef farms it's not, especially if it's grazed. And after, there is consumption of fuel. So this is how many liters per year you use. If you don't have the data, it's an auto calculation from the French tool. So I do think it will not be suitable for Estonia, I think. So it's better to have the data if you have it. And after, there is mineral nitrogen that are spread in units of nitrogen per year. and organic nitrogen that is imported. If you are spreading some I don't know if you are spreading I don't know pig manure.
Yes, or chicken manure, or yes, I know.
Yeah.
But
Okay. And after there is how many tons of concentrate you are purchasing and distributing, and among these tons, for example, there is 60 tons per year. Among these tons, how many soy do you use? Because the soy is the emission factor is 2 times higher than the average emission factor from the other concentrate. Okay, when you fill this, it's finished. You just have to check some data here. So a percentage of maize in your fodder surface, nitrogen, mineral nitrogen per hectare, and so on. This is automatically calculated. It's just to check if there is not something aberrant or something completely wrong. And when you checked everything, you validate. Validation is okay. So otherwise, they will drop you at the mistake, and you close the data collection. They will say, okay, do you want to calculate the results? And okay, and after you have the results, as I said, here it's the number of livestock unit of your farm, the number of suckler cows, age at first calving, the production of a kilo of live weight per livestock unit, as I said before, and so on, a bit of an identity card of your farm. After the inputs that is consumed per the farm, and the positive contribution of your farm. So it's how many people you can feed, how many carbon you can sequestrate, and how many biodiversity you can preserve. And after, the thing that is more important, it's the carbon emission. Carbon footprint here. So carbon footprint, net carbon footprint equal emission of greenhouse gas minus carbon sequestration. Here, the arrow is your farm. So it's 13.4 kilo of equivalent CO2 per kilo of live weight gain here. And this is the reference, French reference for the same system. It's between 8.3 and 16.4, and the average is 12.4. And after we focus on emission of greenhouse gases with enteric fermentation, you have here, it's your farm, 9.2, it's your farm, and 8.3, it's the results of the average farm of the same system. And this is manure management. So once again, the same. After this is nitrogen fertilization. After it's fuel and electricity. After it's concentrate, and it's fertilizer here. And we have the same for carbon sequestration with permanent grassland, hedgerows, temporary grassland, and annual crops. And it's the same, we position the farm on it. And after, we have a calculation also of the nitrogen balance in order to, so we put the entrance, it's concentrate, it's nitrogen chemical fertilizer we are purchasing, symbiotic, this is leguminous fixation, imported important manure, imported manure, and the out, it's the meat you are producing, and also manure you are exporting. And you calculate the nitrogen balance, and after we will evaluate if this nitrogen balance exceeds. So it's 112 kilo of nitrogen per hectares. If it's likely to go in the soil, it will be sequestrated in the soil. If it's likely to be leached to water, or if it's likely to be lost in the air with ammonia emission. So that's it. Okay, approximately that's it. I do you want me to present the level 2 data?
A little bit, yes. Then
okay. So level 2, it's far. There is a lot of data. So it's the same. Okay, the same. The place where is it and so on. This is automatically calculated. It's the temperature, annual average temperature, and so on. And after, it's the same, the system. You can say, do you are organic? Yes, no, and so on. Do you have a dairy production, and so on. If you have a dairy production, yeah, the main difference, sorry, if you do a level 1, it will be you will have to have a level 1 for your dairy production and another level 1 for your beef production. It means that it's on the, I don't know the word in English, but it will be focused on your production. So you will have to make 2 assessments, one for your dairy production, one for your beef production. Level 2, it's the overall farm. So you will have, when you will perform a level 2, if you have dairy and beef, you will have to declare both of the animals. Anyway, I don't think it's your case, so I will go on. After, so this is the first things. After, you will have the cattle. The cattle, as I said, this is a breeds 1. So for you, it will be Angus, for example, and you plus breeds 2. It will be Simmental. Okay, and after, if I declare some Simmental, I can say how many cows are Simmental and how many cows are Angus. Okay, so after you have to there is more data to collect. This is the annual number of suckler cows. This is the number of suckler cows at the beginning of the year and the number of suckler cows at the end of the year. And this is the average weight of the suckler cows. So by default, it will affect an average weight linked, for example, to the average Simmental. But if you have the data, please replace this average weight of the Simmental. Here is Charolais, but the average weight of the Simmental by your real weight of your cows, of your suckler cows, and it's the same for every type of animal. So it's the same: male 0 1 year, heifers 0 1 year, and so on and so on and so on. Okay. After, did you purchase some animal? If you are purchase some calves, if you purchase some weanling, or anyway some bulls, so on, you will declare those types of animals here with the weight and the age of the animal. Here it's all your sales. So your sales, you will declare your sales per category of sale. So is it calves? Is it weanlings? Is it overweight weanling? Is it female weanling? Is it overweight female weanling? And so on and so on. Okay. And this was the live animals, a list for the live animals, and a list for the finished animals. So it's a calves in order to be butchered. It's heifers, finished heifers with how many, what is the live weight of the animal and the age of the animal. For example, here in this farm, we are selling some heifers, a very few finished heifers at 32 months, and a lot of young bulls at 18 months. Okay, and of course some cull cows at 75. Okay, you see it's approximately 6 years. Yeah, something like this. Okay, and after there is a number of calving. How many calving per cow? What is the number of weaned calves in order to evaluate the mortality, the death rate, yeah, or the number of weaned calves per cow, and so on. Age at first calving, and so on and so on, the interval between 2 calvings, and if there is a star, the data is mandatory. If there is no star, it's optional. You don't have to fill it. Okay, and after you have the calculation of the live weight gain production once again, because it will be our divider, and you finish with the cattle. you start with manure production, housing and manure production. For each category of animal, you will have to declare how many days it's in housing, how many days it's in grazing, and how many days it's half-half. So for each category of animal, like this, we'll evaluate how many solid manure or liquid or slurry they are producing. And after you declare as well the type of housing you have, just like the same. And with according to the type of housing, we'll know if it's a solid manure, it's quite it's not so solid, or if it's really compact, or if it's slurry. Liquid manure. And after you will tell if you are composting your manure or not, and if you are using methane plants, methane production plants, methanizer.
Yeah.
Okay. And how many months you are storing your manure, and the type of after the type of spreader you have, if it's a trailing shoe, if it's so on. And if you are importing some manure, for example, poultry and so on, you declare it here. And if you are exporting some of your manure, you will also declare it here. Anyway, that's it. After, there is a surface. So surface, you will declare how many permanent grassland that are grazed, how many permanent grasslands that are mowed
For hay and silage, yes.
Yeah. How many permanent grasslands that are both grazed and mowed, and how many temporary grassland you have in rotation with crops, how many silage maize and so on. If you have other things, you can add as many fodder as you want. This is intercrops. If you have intercrops, for example, a crop between silage maize and another silage maize, for example, you will and you have a grass between the two, you will declare it. And after, there is all the crops, cereal, it's wheat, triticale, barley, and so on. Maize for the grain maize, and if you have not cauliflower, sunflower. If you have sunflower or other type of production, rapeseed and so on, you will declare it here. So once again, the number of hectares and the yields of the crops. And after, you will have to declare if you put the exact amount you put of ammonitrate, urea, or other chemical fertilizer. And the same, how many solid manure or slurry you put on all your crops and all your fodder. Okay, it's more or less this. And after, you check if it's okay. And after, there is the feeding plan. Sorry, it's a bit long. So I recommend you to use the simplified feeding plan strategy. You will declare how many silage, grass silage or maize silage you use, and you will declare if you are selling some, if there is a stock variation, and how many are used in order to, in percentage, how many are used to feed your beef production. For example, for you, Airi, if it's only beef, you will put 100% to your beef production. And the same for the crops you are producing. If you have no crops, it will be simplified. And also fodder that you buy, concentrate that you buy, and other feeds like additives or something that you buy. And after, we calculate the calculate, sorry, the dry matter intake of your animal that will be used in order to calculate the methane emission of your animal, of course. After, there is one thing on energy. So how many your consumption of electricity, consumption of fuel, and so on. I think there is someone who wants to enter, but I have not the hand. So if you can permit him. And after there is other data. Other data, it's economical data, IRI, and it's also a questionnaire on the overall workload on the farm. Is the farmer satisfied or not by the workload he have? This is optional. Okay, you don't have to fill it. If you want to fill it, for example, it's in a rush hour time. Is the workload acceptable on my farm? If I put 1, if it's not acceptable at all, it's really you're over busy. If it's 9, it's yeah, it's perfect. Okay, and can you go in vacation during weekend and so on? Anyway, and after the last things, it's only in gray, so it's just checking if the data are consistent. If there is not a big mistake, so it's only in gray. So for example, there is a production of live weight per overall. So is it okay or not? And after, once again, you close the data collection and you edit the final restitution. Final restitution will be, once again, there is the ID of your beef production, and this is at the global scale of my farm, with also where are, so on this farm, 59% of the emissions are methane. And in this, the methane is 80% of the methane is emitted by the enteric fermentation, and 18% of the methane is emitted by the manure. And 1.9%, I think, it's emitted during grazing. This is the nitrogen balance. Okay, it's just the same than before I showed you. This is the so emission of your farm. This is the carbon sequestration, the green one, and the difference, it's the carbon footprint, the net carbon footprint. Okay. Once again, I position the arrow, it's my farm, and the reference. Okay, it's the same for emission, same for carbon sequestration. And after, there is a consumption of energy and positive contribution. Positive contribution with how many carbon is sequestrated and how many biodiversity is preserved and how many people we can feed with meat we produce. And that's it. That's what I wanted to show you. This is the main difference. It's for each technical indicator. We will have some will position the farm. So for example, the production of meat, this is in a kilo of live weight gain per livestock unit. You are positioned here. Number of weaned calves per calving. We are here, 0.93. Interval between 2 calvings, we are 435 days. This is the age at first calving, and so on. Okay, you have all these indicators. This will be how many concentrate you give per livestock unit, and so on. This is, for example, the autonomy, protein autonomy, protein self-sufficiency, maybe. It's 89%. Okay, and after how many nitrogen you put, chemical nitrogen per hectares, so it's 70, and so on. Okay, I go fast. And after, this is about economy, and this is about social results. And after, you can choose, but it will not be available in English, this one. It's just the Excel grids, but here you can choose some levers you want to implement. For example, I want to yeah. So no, this is not some levers. This is some things that will happen on your farm. So maybe I will have to transmit my farm to a successor. So that's my main concern now, to transmit my farm to my successor and so on. And after, there is the levers we can implement in order to lower our carbon emission, such as I want to introduce some alfalfa in my rotation and so on. Okay, so this is level 2, Airi.
Yes, but as I saw, then for the input, the level 2 is not it's not difficult because we have all the data. That's just
okay.
more specific. So maybe it's even no problem to use level 2 in to compare in Estonia farms, because if you have the level 2 already translated in English.
Okay, perfect. So I transmit you either this afternoon or maybe more in the beginning of next week. I transmit to Airi and the grid. But I already transmitted to you, Ilvo staff.
Yes.
Karen, yeah.
I
Okay.
already received it indeed, the English version.
Okay. So I will transmit it this grid to you, Airi, but I cannot transmit the calculation. Will not be done. You will have to send me maybe to send me back the input
data.
data, and I will give you back the. If I have a problem, I will call you and we plan one hour to discuss, and that's it.
But if you look forward your plans in next few months, when it's appropriate time to make this presentation, do you have some time when it's totally impossible, or?
In fact, the presentation is me. I will have to present your results to other people.
Yes. It's
Okay.
just an hour or an hour and a half.
Okay. Yeah, it's possible. Maybe during the evening or during between or this at between 1 and 2 o'clock. For me, it's almost 2 o'clock now. So between 1 and 2 o'clock, I have not so much appointments, so it will be okay. Except when I have training session. For the moment, we are confined in France. So again for 1 week. And we'll sort something. If you want, you can send me a doodle, or you want me to tell you. I can.
No, I not just wanted to know if it's sometimes that you totally impossible to do it, because it's in I think in June or July, or no, it's not that busy to do it, but.
Okay, so what I will do, it's I send you an email with my availability in June and July.
Exactly.
Like this, you can choose. But the things that we have to get in mind, it's before June and July. We have to work on if there is some difficulty in order to fill and so on. I think definitely we will have to maybe we fill this data collection in the first 2 weeks of May, for example, or during the first 3 weeks of May, and after we can make the restitution in June or July. And I will send you an email with my availability.
That would be nice.
Great.
Thank
Are there
you.
other things that you would like to discuss with Jocelyn now he's here, before we move to the next part of the meeting?
For yes.
For you, yeah, I don't know.
If Triin or somebody else has some ideas.
I maybe have one question, if I may ask. I'm Riina and I'm from Estonian Chamber of Agriculture and Commerce. I'm responsible for environmental topics there. And I wanted to ask, what standards or what method are you using for your calculations? And the question is in that as there are many different methods that can be used for carbon footprint calculation, if it can be compared maybe to some other results from other methods.
Yes, so we compared, for example, our tool with the Cool Farm tool and with other tools. So it's GIEC. GIEC, it's in English, it's experts on climate, the group.
IPCC, I mean.
Yeah, it's IPCC. So it's IPCC methodology, either tier 2 or tier 3. We are not using tier 1.
Okay.
But yeah.
I just, if you know this, there is the carbon trust standard. If you can compare your results to those that they get from this standard, if they calculate according to this carbon trust standard.
I do think it's in line with the carbon trust standard, but I'm not the responsible of the tool. So I think I have one. I can put you in link with a woman responsible with a person. There's 2 persons responsible of this tool among French Livestock Institute. But I'm pretty sure because we have a big project that is starting just in November, and it's in order to carbon credits. In France, we are already rewarding farmers with carbon credits when they reduce their emission. So I know that it's in line with, but I don't know really, to be honest, what is the carbon trust standard. So I don't want. I know there is a gold standard, there is carbon trust standard, but it's me. I was working on these topics before, and now not so much. And it's yeah, maybe 10 years ago. So I prefer to put it in contact with my colleague.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
I have only some general questions. So if Sirli, for example, wants to ask something about the tool itself, so they are more important than my questions, so I can ask them later.
I can wait.
I was just wondering, was the mapping of this more than 3,000 farms made with level 1 or level 2?
It's level 1 mainly in beef, but in dairy, it's almost only level 2. And what we observe is that in order to reduce our emissions, we have to make a carbon action plan. We have to build a carbon action plan with the farmer. And the carbon action plan is really often, in order to have a clue what levers to implement, we have to go in the fertilization in order to see, yes, maybe you are over fertilizing your maize or something. So that's why level 2 is maybe more appropriate in order to build a carbon action plan. And level 1, it's maybe more to sensibilize the farmer and also to know exactly the picture of each system. To have because the identity between level 1 and level 2 on greenhouse gas emission, it's 97% of identity. So you will say why you bother to have 150 input data instead of 30. And the identity on greenhouse gas emission is almost the same. On net carbon footprint, it's 93, so it's a bit 93% of identity. But yeah, anyway, to answer you clearly, we have at the moment. We have 400 farms in level 2 only in beef. All the rest is the level 1.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah. But it will increase a lot because we are producing carbon credits at the moment, and it's self-willing carbon credits. So there is a lot of farmer, and the carbon credits method, it's only on level 2. Because you have to monitor and so on with a third party in order to check if all your data are okay. So it's only on level 2. So that's why now what is really used, if you want to reduce, it's level 2. And it's used also by McDonald's in France. This tool is used by McDonald's in order to reduce, because they have a carbon footprint strategy, and to reduce, so they are using it in order to reduce the beef footprint.
Okay, so I also have one question. So first I would like to comment that as far as I know, the carbon trust standard is not a new standard itself. It is actually based on other standards invented in the world. But as far as I know, this school farm in general is somehow linked with the carbon trust as well. But they are both based on other standards in the world, like, for example, this BUS 2050 and so. But the question is about carbon sequestration. So do you consider sequestration also to the cropland and short-term grasslands, not only to in case of the permanent grasslands? Yes.
Yes, But so carbon sequestration, we have to our value, our hypothesis will change, will evolve in the very short term. It means by the end of the year. But what we have now in the tool, it's we sequestrate additionally per year plus 570 kilo of carbon per hectare of permanent grassland. So this is what we sequestrate in permanent grassland. And after, if you have a rotation with temporary grassland and crops, we will sequestrate per year of temporary grassland 570 kilo of carbon per hectare, and we will release 950 kilo of carbon per year of crops. I am clear? Maybe I have something to present on this.
So the release is bigger than the sequestration, or?
Yes, by the crops. It's bigger than the sequestration. So it's somehow it's discussed, but it's what we have for now in the tool. And if it's crops without rotation with grassland, it's minus. So it's really there's a release. It's minus 160 kilo of carbon per hectare of per year, and per year. Sorry.
Okay, so but then you are not considering the actual input to the soil, which can be quite different, but you have some kind of average values that you are using, yes?
Yes, you're right.
So and then you are also not considering the different soil parameters, soil type and so on. Okay.
But that's why it will evolve. Now we have a Carsolel project. It's a European project, and we are working. To put. So it will be organic matter dependent, and it will be dependent of the pedoclimatic condition. Because what we observe, it's on the what we can look at. It's when the grassland is receiving some manure, and the grassland is quite productive. The sequestration is more important than on a really low production grassland, maybe a permanent grassland, 80 years old. It's less sequestration.
Okay, but in cropland, you are not assuming any sequestration.
No, we are not assuming any sequestration, but it will evolve also because in cropland we have another institute. We are the French Livestock Institute. There is a French Crop Institute, and they will provide us some data, especially for the intercrops and so on, to have carbon sequestration data, yes, and also so intercrops, and also maybe a simplified type of cropping. No, simplified. Yeah, it's English. This, when you don't plow, you are not plowing, and so on. We have to evaluate a bit. But what is difficult on carbon sequestration, it's there is always a lot of differences between the trial. So it's difficult to have a value. We have to get a conservative value, but we also have to stick the foot in the door and say, we have the meat emission, but in comparison to other sectors such as the transport, for example, the cars and so on, we are also sequestrating carbon. And if we have grasslands, it's because we have cows. Otherwise, we will not have grassland, mainly. Maybe it will be forest or something else, but I don't know. So for us, it's really important. Now it's not my concern because I'm more a researcher, but I'm also in contact with some professional, and they said for us it's important to be able to propose something, because every time we say it's complicated carbon sequestration, so let's not take it. Yeah, it's complicated, but let's take something at least, even if it's complicated, because that's it.
Maybe I will just jump in. We were also going to discuss other topics, so maybe we can stop this discussion about the Cap2er tool, if it's okay for everyone.
Yes.
If you have other questions, I think you can still contact Jocelyn or me with your questions, and then we can answer them. I will also stop the recording, because then there is only the recording of the Cap2er tool, and I think that's better to use.
Rit,